Video games are bad for you. That's what they said about rock and roll. Are video games good or bad? And what if we played our own lives like a video game? Let's look into the positive and negative aspects of video games and how we can use the power of video games to improve our lives by leveling ourselves up. Around the world, 3.1 billion, that's billion with a B, people play video games on a regular basis. That is over 40% of the world's population. Video games have become more and more mainstream over the last 30 years. There's a genre of games for everyone based on any theme you can imagine, from childish to X-rated. They can be temporary escape from everyday life. They can scratch that social itch. Games deliver a variety of challenges. They provide constant measure of growth by recording high scores to improve on, or you can build up your character stats. Powerful, all-encompassing form of entertainment taking over our psyche. Video games can be the ultimate form of recreation. However, this powerful amusement definitely has its consequences when abused. Games are accused of inciting violence and ruining lives to the same degree of drug use. Others say video games can improve brain function and are a safe way to develop life skills. Are video games a fire to be kindled so they can help humans reach a higher level of consciousness, or are they a fire scorching out the minds of a lost generation? Let's first look at media's history of tying games to real-world tragedies. One of the first links to games and violence was the Columbine High School massacre. The two shooters had been avid players of Doom. Ever since this event, there has been a steady increase in questioning if video games catalyze violent tendencies. The American Psychological Association released a 2015 report linking video games and aggressive behavior while decreasing pro-social behavior, empathy, and sensitivity to aggression. Critics claimed the study failed to take into account social economic statuses and violence within the families. Furthermore, crime statistics don't indicate a growth in violence despite the massive growth in the video game industry over the last few years. However, violent crimes have been steadily dropping for decades. In contrast, games continue to become more and more violent and realistic all the time. As the sociological effects are debated, the psychological effects have certainly become obvious. In 2019, the World Health Organization recognized gaming disorder as a real mental health risk, associated with maladaptive coping strategies, negative emotions and attitudes, low self-esteem, loneliness, and poor academic performance. People play games for lots of different reasons, so it's unfair to brush all forms of gaming as a health risk. All players are different, and the differences dictate the games that they choose and the games that are made for them. The experience of games varies, but every game has a component of satisfaction at the core of why it is played. This element of satisfaction is similar to the driving factor behind all vices. Does this make video games dangerous, or is it just detrimental when abused, but perfectly fine when enjoyed in moderation? There are many types of gamers, one of the types being recreational. These people do not spend much time playing the games and just enjoy the game as a hobby. Other categories tend to use games in ways that are more impactful to their psyche. There are social gamers who enjoy role play and use games as a means of replacing their own identity. Online, you don't have to be what you are in reality. You can embody the traits that you admire the most and have a worldview of whatever you wish. Similar to the social gamer is the escaper. Playing games allows them to remove themselves from their current reality. This way, they don't need to deal with life's difficulties by putting off or avoiding problems by sinking their time and consciousness into a video game. Then you have achievers, who seek to make progress and are driven to be the best, seeking validation through achievements in games. They feel good knowing that they have finished tasks, completed levels, or developed a character. Hardcore gamers are a combo of achievers and escapers. The achievements completed in a video game authenticate their imagined identities. This gives validation to the time they spent achieving these goals. They understand that best in game requires all their waking hours, and they are more than willing to pay this price. Maslow's hierarchy of needs can be met from the comforts of a chair while playing video games. This makes it very easy to allow your life to be absorbed into a video game. The video game essentially becomes your life. Games give you an immediate feedback for your effort, feeding our need for achievement. Games show you how far you have to come and how far you need to go, outlining a direct path to fulfillment, self-actualization in-game. You have other players to compare yourself to, giving you a status or someone you can aspire to be. Unlike in real life, those aspirations are more achievable because you can follow a step-by-step process without real-life prejudice of social economic statuses. This feeling of achievement in video games affects the brain in the same way addictive drugs do. They trigger and release dopamine that make the person feel good and reinforce behavior. Using video games as a means to escape life stressors, while at the same time achieving goals and notoriety. This allows for a sense of accomplishment while dulling the truth that time is being wasted. Moderation is a virtue that most definitely needs to be heeded when approaching how much time someone should spend playing video games. But does not moderation of a game for pleasure's sake not counter the virtue itself? Seneca wrote, "Nothing is so damaging to good character as the habit of lounging at the games. For then it is that vice that steals subtly upon one through the avenue of pleasure." This was in reference to gladiatorial games, much like watching football or hockey. I wonder if the argument can be made that video games in moderation can be used not for pleasure just for pleasure's sake, but to strive for human excellence. Can games be seen as a way to prepare for life? By making decisions under pressure, using reasoning, testing reflexes, I feel damning games altogether would be unfair. The draw to video games is obvious to most people. They are fun and entertaining with a huge variety of themes and genres. Playing video games can be relaxing, relieve anxiety, and just be a ton of fun to play. In Buddhism, you focus on replacing the negative with positive, and nothing de-stresses better than good old-fashioned FUN. Studies from Australia and China have found expert-level video game players have increased a measurable level of cognitive function, perception, and motor skills. These players have more developed connective tissue in their brain and even increased their gray matter. Educational games have come a long way, incorporating scholastic skills with interesting game themes to keep young kids engaged. A phenomenon known as being in the zone can occur when playing video games, defined by a Hungarian psychologist as being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. The ego falls away, time flies, every action, movement, and thought flows inevitably from the last. First-person shooters like Doom or Call of Duty are perfect examples as they immerse the player through a first-person perspective. This is the mindset many athletes talk about and struggle to get at higher levels of competition. Monks spend their whole life learning to meditate in the zone. Speaks volumes the power of video games that the zone can just occur naturally. What if real life was a video game? What if we applied the same components of a video game to our own lives, as well as the benefits of mental development while balancing our actual playing time? The difficulty of this is twofold. First off, the discipline of limiting game playing time to strictly recreational use. And I understand that if somebody is a true addict, then the compulsion to overplay is way too great. If this is the case, then you'll have to expand cognitive abilities in a way that is safe for you. I definitely do not advocate addicts to relapse. The second part of this is what I'm excited to explore, and everybody can do it safely. It is the building of a video game character in real life. Think of the real world as an MMORPG, and you are the character. Write down all your stats and be realistic and truthful. What is your strength, intelligence, charisma, dexterity, or endurance? Make up a stat sheet for yourself. Now, what do you want to be in real life? Are you going to school for something particular? Maybe you're thinking of a career change. Maybe you're like me and want to be a YouTuber. What is your next goal in life? Now look at your current stats and what needs to be improved to reach your goals. What stats are you willing to sacrifice? Like any well-balanced game, you can't just be a big muscular warrior who's super intelligent and casts all kinds of spells with unlimited endurance. You need to focus your time and resources on building up specific stats to help achieve your end goal, and you need to give up the less advantageous stats. Thinking of life in these terms might give us the incentive to practice and learn new skills that we are afraid of, or seem to be too overwhelmed to even start. Learning new skills in real life takes a little bit more than going to the in-game trainer and leveling it up automatically. But if you're going to spend your time working on skills, Don't you think it should be on skills that you'll have for the rest of your life and not just during whatever game you are into right now? Video games have changed the world. Don't let the word game fool you. Video games are a very powerful force. Video games can be a warm and entertaining fire that burn in our hearths, or they can burn your house down if not used with restraint and discipline. The caution to use properly and make the best of it without burning yourself is on you, not the fire. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I am always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it. Pablo Picasso.